Hello, everybody. This is Samantha Jayne here in the UK, and it's all about moon energy this week. But first of all, we need to go back to the 15th and just talk about the energies that came into play then. So that is the energy of Chiron, and it began to go retrograde into Aries. So we began this journey of real self-discovery. For some people, they may have gone through what we'd call destructive behavior in order to let go of negativity, to let go of repressed anger, all those kind of emotions in order to open them up to the divine love that is on offer to them. Now, many people will be having this urge and feeling drawn to be part of community projects, helping others, serving others, all of that wonderful work that we do here. And especially if you're watching this and you are a light worker. But what is really key as well is that we've been understanding that it is okay to be spiritual and to create success, and that the two need to go hand in hand. And this week is massive for that. This week is a really powerful week when it comes to the law of attraction. But you need to remember that you have to blend together your spiritual beliefs, your spiritual values, and that materialistic thing, whatever it is that you wish to create, and use the two together. It needs to fulfill those spiritual needs. Your life needs to fulfill your emotional needs as well in order to create. Now, when we get to the 23rd, we have got this amazing full moon energy coming in. But we do have to watch with that energy because it brings in this energy of irritation. So we have two energies at play. We might feel like we've got a split personality this week. We've got this fabulous, spiritual, self-aware energy aligning with what we wish to create in the world if it aligns with our purpose, finding ways to help and serve others. And yet we've also got this full moon energy coming in, which is all about bringing in an irritability energy. But we're irritable because that's how this moon is going to show us, how it's going to highlight and show that light, shine that light even on the situations, or more importantly, the relationships that are actually out of balance. So if there is an imbalance in your personal relationship, then you are about to find that out. So just to make you aware of that. Now, this full moon is predominantly shining on our personal lives, our intimate relationships, but it does have the potential to influence or to highlight issues in our business and friendship connections as well. So remember, this one is very much about balance. And during this transit, we could find ourselves growing increasingly irritable around our intimate relationships, our self-worth, and of course our finances, because we've got this Venus energy at play as well. And wherever there is a self-worth issue, then that will show up in your financial sector. So remember that if you find you are struggling with money, there's a need for you to show yourself some value, to show yourself some worth. The good thing is, though, on a positive note, that because we have got that self-worth energy coming in to improve our self-worth, it does mean that we can experience a lot more confidence and ambition, and we can feel much braver about tackling things. We also have the influence of Jupiter at this time, which is going to bring to our attention situations which are involving greed and excess. So what you're spending, what you're eating, or it may be that partner next to you who's going to irritate you in those ways, but just be mindful of that. So what would be my best advice for this one? Well, when it comes to your personal relationships, I would recommend trying not to let your partner's annoying habits irritate you so much that you throw that towel in, that you walk away from something that actually outside of this planetary influence is actually quite good. So be very, very careful of how you express yourself when you are irritated, fed up, and had enough of those annoying habits. This season will end. This too shall pass. So keep that in mind. Be careful for ending relationships when those relationships actually belong. When it comes to your financial aspect, you may need to be looking at them closely. You may need to take steps to balance those books, to make sure you've got enough money coming in, not too much money going out. Maybe you need to call in some debts where you have lent money to people, all of that kind of thing. So be aware of that in your financial sector as well. When it comes to business, you may need to do what I call check in on yourself. And what I mean by that is you may need to ask yourself, are you coming from a place of greed right now? Have you switched your energy from being from a place of service to a place of money and greed and everything being about money? Because if that's the case, you're going to come unstuck this week. Things are going to crash because you need to be in balance. Yes, you're worth money. Yes, what you do brings value into the world, but there's no need to be greed orientated within it. And we're going to see a lot of that in the world over the next week. All right. Now, you also need to be careful that you are not overestimating yourself and your abilities, your capabilities. Okay. So be very careful about, how much work you're actually able to do when it comes to getting those jobs done, completing projects. Because if you're at the negative end of the spectrum of the energies coming in, that increased self-worth will have you seeing yourself as more capable than perhaps you really are right now. So just watch for that. But as I said before, that confidence, that drive, that can have us feeling so much braver and taking bigger steps towards that abundance and towards that success. But do watch for spinning too many plates right now, too many projects, trying to achieve far too many goals right now, because you could come unstuck. So this is a season to really grasp that less is more, and it will align you to more in the future. Now, I don't mean ditch everything and focus on one thing, but what I do mean is remember that if you're focusing on less, you can master that and you can do it well. So be aware of that. So if I was going to just kind of like do a summary of these energies right now, it would really be that this is a time to be doing things in moderation. It's a time for having self-control as well. And that is going to be a real key part, a key step to getting the best out of this moon cycle, rather than falling prey to the negative end of the spectrum of the energies. And because if we find ourselves doing that, then we're going to have to deal with those consequences for possibly months to come. So as I said before, when it comes to relationships, whether it's business partners or our intimate partners, it will be predominantly your intimate though. Just watch for letting them irritate you too much and you being reactive to what they're saying. So watch how you respond. Watch that you don't overpromise, because you may not be able to deliver. That's in business, work, and in your personal relationships. So I'm going to turn to the tarot note now for just a little bit of extra insight this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Let's have a little look. So yeah, it is about taking responsibility for moving yourself forwards right now, and how you do that, how you take those steps. How much are you willing to do? What are you willing to not willing to do? There is abundance here. There's a lot of abundance here, especially if it's aligning with your path of purpose, your spiritual beliefs, your spiritual values, all of that. Some of you may have to speak up. You may have to share the truth of who you are in order to create. Because if we're not living our truth, money loves the truth. And if you're not living your truth, then you're not going to be pulling that money in. So be aware of that. I do have a webinar on that. Pop to my website, needapsychic.co.uk, if you need help with that. But many of you will be making decisions around balancing finances, balancing life, and especially balancing that intimate relationship as we would identify it. It's all about little steps this week rather than big dramatics, but we do have to watch for the energies trying to get us to do those big dramatics, because we're being wound up slowly but surely by other people irritating us this week. Some of us in work may need to face some disappointments, but it is a chance to rebuild. It is a chance to focus on the things, the projects, the roles that matter most, that perhaps actually we're invested in the most. But I do have some endings for some people this week when it comes to the work aspect. But there can be no beginning if there is no ending. So look up, get your guidance, and focus on where you are going, not where you have been, and not where that ending sits. Sometimes we get so lost in the problem, in the issue, that we forget to be looking at the vision. We forget to look ahead. We just look here at the ground at what is in front of us. But we need to learn to ignore that reality and keep that mind, that creative connection to the future that we want to create. And that is very much present right now when it comes to people's work aspects. Relationships, it could be a challenging week, but at the same time, it's about taking back your control so you are not forgotten within it all. So spiritually, a week for making sure your world is moving around you and not around the other people in it. It's your world, and this is your week to go out and create it. So have an amazing week. Jump on those positive energy waves and do your best. Have a great one. Bye-bye.